So I'm going to talk to you about how to pump directly into a freezer bag using the Ardo Easy Freeze system, instead of having to pump into a bottle and then pour it into a bag in order to store it. So normally when we're pumping, we're going to be pumping directly into a bottle, but today we're going to use the Easy Freeze bag. So let's take that off the end of the breast shell. We're going to attach the bag directly to the bottom of the breast shell. So when we pump, it's going to go through the breast shell and straight into the bag through the little valve. So this is our Easy Freeze bag. We've got two places where we're going to need to do some cutting. The first one is where we've got a number 1 with a dotty line and some scissors. Now we want to do this quite carefully because we want to keep all this space in order to put it onto the bottom of the breast shell. We don't want to lose any of that space. I've got nice clean hands before I do any pumping or handling the bag. So I'm going to slip that onto the bottom of the shell. Then I'm going to use one of these cable ties. We've got some pre-cut holes around the top of the Easy Freeze bag. So I'm going to put the cable tie through those pre-cut holes, and then I'm going to tighten it. So we've got that nice tight seal that we need for pumping. And then this is the end that's going to go into the back of our pump to get the pumping started. Okay, so let's imagine we've done some pumping. I'm just going to pop a little bit of milk in there. Doesn't fill the bag quite this quickly when you're pumping in real life. Okay, so let's imagine that we finished pumping and now we want to take the bag off and actually store the milk. So I'm going to open the cable tie. We can actually open up the bottom of the bag so it's a little bit sturdier and able to sit on a surface. Now I can actually rip off the cable tie at this point because we don't need to keep those pre-cut holes anymore, but we're going to use that cable tie again, so don't get rid of that. I'm going to seal my bag, take out the excess air because milk will expand in the freezer, and seal my bag nice and tightly with the Ziploc feature. And now I'm going to cut that extra top bit off because we don't need that anymore, where it has a number 2. And that would now be ready to store in the fridge or in the freezer. Length of time depends on the temperature of your freezer. Quite often it's going to be 6 to 12 months if your freezer is below -18 degrees Celsius. And I also want to draw your attention to this little temperature gauge here, which is very useful because it's going to tell us when we're reheating the milk whether the milk is the correct temperature for baby. Now this particular milk came from fridge, and you can see that the temperature gauge has a bluish tinge to it, so that would be too cold for baby. If the temperature gauge was grey, the milk would be a bit too warm, but if it was completely clear and transparent, that would be the correct temperature to give baby. So when you're reheating your milk, when you're warming it back up again, nice and gently, we don't want to use a microwave to heat breast milk. When we're warming the milk back up, when you notice that that gauge is completely transparent and clear, it's ready for baby.